चालू हो गया ना? हाँ.
So I have been introduced to you as Advocate Ashwin Mehta. I started my career as a commerce graduate and followed the path up to MBA. But while I was working in Unit Trust of India, I thought let me also go to the morning college, Government Law College. Little did I know that would become such an important path in my life. And if I can say, even in cricket, only those people are successful who are all-rounders much more than the specialist. So in life also one should be an all-rounder. Perhaps I must be the only person in this country who's taken out license to practice as an advocate after 34 years. And that came about because after engaging almost all the advocates in the whole country with so many cases, we thought, let me try my own medicine also. That medicine is working wonders now. It's been about 9 years. But what I am before you for today is to share our early life experiences as we got introduced to stock market. I got introduced formally by working in ICICI, and thereafter at a very young age, I became the deputy manager investments in Unit Trust. It was a wonderful experience of being the largest mutual fund lender and investor. That is where I learned why information is God. So we come to market, I call market is a zoo, where everybody thinks that they have their own special formula and they can outsmart others. And it is a self-learning process because there is no formal education about financial markets. Though in MBA they do teach you about how to run a corporate body and all that. The first need in this country is in school, preferably in school or somewhere in college, there must be some course on introduction on capital market. If our Prime Minister, Home Minister, Finance Minister is taking pride that Indians are beating the foreigners and such huge amounts of money are coming into the market, so all of us must be collectively, we must take a responsibility and bring introduction of capital market in our life in a proper and formal way, rather than learning the hard way. Having said that, why I'm saying this, there is a background to it. India has the highest savings rate in the world. So Indians by very nature are savers. Whereas in the Western world, they pledge their future, they spend their future. You know the EMI culture. And most of them have their house mortgaged, everything is run through the loans. If India has such a highest savings rate, then why do we call India poor? So the conundrum here is that what is saved in the country is not invested properly. And that is where I think sessions like this can do some. My job is to inspire some of you who are savers, but maybe not very good investors. When you have savings rate of 32% and only 2% of that savings was into capital market when we entered the market. And all that is being said and printed about the market, and it is so pathetic that today also it is somewhere around 4 or 5%. Yes. And that is how in this country people have no confidence, no skills. nobody to inspire, no formal education, and everything is learned by trial and error. That is why a vast part of our population has put 43% of our savings in fixed deposits. And how that decision is taken, my previous speaker was talking about somebody has got a Nobel laureate, a Nobel uh, award about the psychology of investors, how he takes a decision. Now, this 43% of countries' savings are locked up in fixed deposit by those people who think that I am walking the path of safety, meaning I want a short return. Now, what is that assured return? Arithmetically, you are getting 6, 7, 8%. And every day you are losing by the inflation, which is higher or equivalent of that. That means the biggest way to fool ourselves is to put money in. You can put the money for any other reason, but at least you don't put money in fixed deposit thinking that I am investing very, very safely. Now, it's therefore what all is required is safety, return, liquidity, tax efficiency, everything is required. Since there is no formal education, persons like Harshad Mehta are born. Why? You see, I'm not defending, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that in this country, people don't get formally introduced, so they lack in conviction. So somebody else is made the leader, and most of the people want to be the followers. If you were to learn by yourself, in fact, I will emphasize why research should be done by you, why you should manage your own money. I'm just trying to give an example. So in our time, we did a lot of research. People hardly know much about it, but in the year 1990, I personally selected, we had a team of about 200 young MBAs and chartered accountants. And we had our presence in almost every city in the country. We had hotlines, we were interacting with corporate bodies on almost a daily basis. And insider trading laws were not there. And management were used to freely talk, and we used to freely understand what opportunities are available. But there was no Google, there was no, even computers were not there. So processing power, sources of information were not there. In essence, if I may sum up, we took birth in what I would call a jungly market, meaning market made up of people who are only dealing with emotions. Hearsay, somebody is giving a tip, somebody happens to be director's wife, and she has told your wife, and your wife has told you, and you will tell her, please ask more information. So you are basically going by opinion and information of others. And that is why at the very beginning I said, information is God. So how do we do investing? All by yourself. First, to learn how to gather information and how to separate information with opinion. In our common parlance, what comes to you is information packaged along with somebody's opinion. The opinion is given first and information is given later. So in deciding what to buy and what to sell or how to make investment, you must first know how to systematically gather information. And that is what we did. So we had dossiers on every company. The amount of information I had on promoters, who is their son, daughter, who's their brother, what has been their past track record, what is their thought process towards investors, are they the rewarding kind, are they siphoning off the monies from because at that time there was no distinction between the promoter's wealth and the corporate wealth. So there was a breed of promoters who thought that the corporate wealth is also their own wealth, though they were trustees for even the other shareholders who are equally holding partnership in the company. So thanks to the first company, the biggest revolution that we saw was the birth of Infosys and Mr. Narayan Murthy, who brought about what we have now commonly practicing and very well is corporate governance. Now, corporate governance has therefore separated the wealth of the promoters and the wealth of the company or the assets of the company. The other biggest revolution and why you should come to the capital market. A lot of people, if you will ask a child or even many professors, which has been the biggest innovation in the world? Somebody will say it is steam engine, somebody will say rocket, somebody will say any, but to my mind, the biggest innovation that has taken place in history is a concept called joint stock company. Now, how big it is, you can imagine. So people used to do small businesses with their own capital, their own skills, their own attendance, get the rewards to themselves. And then it evolved into partnership. I shouldn't be telling all this to the chartered accountants, but then we went into partnership. So we pooled the resources of people, capital, etc. And what a wonderful innovation that took place in the form of joint stock company. Now, if you have a vehicle like joint stock company, you are separating the management promoters with the investors. And at the ease of your life, whenever you have the time, you can have an instrument called equity, which keeps working along with the work that you are doing. So when we did the portfolio management, the first thing I came across, and these are my learnings from actual watching the investors, how they decide, how they take decisions about investment in India and abroad also. I've done a lot of seminars abroad also. In India, I find typically people spend 95% of their time in earning new wealth. Like my father-in-law had a shop. So we used to ask him that whole life you are buying and selling and spending so much time. But every year you make profit. And fourth or fifth year, if 5 years profits are accumulated and invested properly, that will have earnings equal to your 95%, 98% of the time. So the time management is done so haphazardly. जो नया कमाना हमारा धर्म समझते हैं 24 घंटे में 23 घंटे उसी में लगाने के लिए तैयार हैं. So we don't allocate any time. We don't respect our savings, our already पसीने की कमाई जो कुछ भी है उसके लिए समय ही नहीं है लोगों को. और जितना समय है, then we will talk about how we take decisions. Somebody else is giving opinion and advice and all that. So first of all, we should all resolve that if we want to tap the immense potential of capital market, you must understand that this joint stock company concept has done such wonders. It has promoted biggest of the companies in the world. It has created greatest amount of wealth, and it is a wealth which is easily transferable. It is tradable. It is tax efficient. It is global. It is local. What have you? I mean, you can't imagine one joint stock company. And these companies are now doing all the innovations. And like now we see NVIDIA and whatnot. So at the individual levels, these things would never have been possible. Half or more than half of what has been invented would never have got invented had there been not a concept of joint stock company. So there are limitations of what we can individually achieve in life and what the companies and the beauty of company, it is beyond your life. Means it is a perpetual thing. Even the promoters may come and go. They may die, their children may take over, management can change. So any which way, more and more I think about the concept of joint stock. It is the biggest invention of mankind, and it is increasingly paying more and more dividends. Now, how those dividends can come into your life is what we have gathered about to talk about the potential. But imagine the beauty of it. Once you adopt that culture and understand what that powerful instrument of equity is, as compared to what else you are doing in life. I just gave an example of fixed deposit. There is a vast community investing in land. Now, in land, there can be encroachment. Land, I have known people becoming bankrupt with huge amount of land holdings because it is not encashable. जिसको हमारी बिजनेस की भाषा में कच्चा दिवालिया बोलते हैं. I know a lot of very, very wealthy people completely strapped of cash. So उन्होंने कभी ये कोशिश ही नहीं की कि मैं एक ऐसा एसेट बेस बनाऊं जो लिक्विड भी है. So there was no importance weightage given to liquidity. So large part of our wealth is locked up in land. Then lot of you here could be there, and you will have to pardon me because all of us speak, we are slaves of our own experiences. So what I am about to share may or may not be liked, but this is what I'm saying with firm conviction. Lot of people think I don't have expertise. The mutual funds have experts and they will manage money for you and generate returns. Now I go by stats. That's why I'm saying I respect information. Information is God. Now, what is that information? I am told I am come back to the market after almost 15 years. I was busy salvaging the problems of my family. I am aghast that world's largest amounts are managed by people who don't own it. And what happens when monies are managed, which do not belong to you? And the so-called experts are giving returns of 11 to 20%. I'm not here to castigate anybody. We are talking pure results and we are dealing with our own money. I'm not here to show anybody down or up and on. If you talk of my own experience, my bare minimum returns have been 100% at all times, even in bear market. I am saying that because my portfolio will say what my portfolios have done, even after the government attached it. And even now it is in attachment. Yesterday, that whatever is left of it went up by 84 crores. At 3:45, I get the data. It was 800 crores in COVID time, a portfolio which was built in 89-90. You might have heard a lot about Ashwin Mehta. He has not used muscle power. We have used brain power. In 90s, there was in 92, there was a historic moment. The country was abandoning its past. Markets were at 800 index. Everybody was gloomy. The country had pledged gold twice. What is the condition of Pakistan today? Our country had the same condition. The World Bank was putting gun on our head and asking us to reform. And the government was left with no choice but to reform. And that is when the politicians acted. So we in our firm decided that here is a moment the politicians are driven to the corner. Instead of pledging gold, they may want to do something else. Pledging gold, your family's heirloom, is the biggest political decision a politician can ever take. It was not a decision, it was a compulsion that we pledged our gold and got foreign currency because our currency level had come down to 7 days import. So why you should form your own opinion? So we formed our opinion. Now these politicians are cornered. The country has no option. Country will have to do something drastic. It is otherwise will become a banana republic. Otherwise, we will not be recognized in Committee of Nations. And I asked my researchers, you kindly study what has happened in other countries when reforms were introduced. What has happened to physical assets, financial assets, what has happened to dated those government securities, what happened to money, inflation across the world, and particularly in Latin America at that time. We mapped the experiences in those countries, formulated 8 or 10 views, and those 10 views, what I forecasted will say I'm just giving an example that I will have a 200% appreciation. It was 1000% or 1500%. So we are a product of history. History is relevant. Even now, I will correlate what happened with us and what is presently available to all of us here. See, I'm not here to share some glorify the Mehta family. Don't get me wrong. Attitude of all of us should be what we learned in our life is when there is gloom all around, when everybody is fearful, when everybody has written off, is the time that you show greed when everybody is showing fear. And everything was available at prices you just can't imagine because there was panic. In panic, people have taken decisions by fear, by emotional decisions, as if the country, like similar thing happened in COVID. In COVID, all of us virtually came to a conclusion that the world will be finished. And of course, I'm not demeaning COVID. What I am saying, in our recent memory, we have seen an opportunity or an occasion when we wrote the whole world off and when we started thinking that tomorrow we will not survive. But some of you were made to sit at home, had nothing else to do. Some of you had lost the jobs. Some of you had lost the permanent source of earning and took to investing. And by accident and by no choice, you got driven into stock market, opened demat accounts, and bought stocks at prices which will never come up. It is the foundation laid by Indian investors in COVID that today you have the courage to tell the foreigners you want to sell. We are here because you have formed a pyramid. And pyramid is normally the mistake is when you form an inverted pyramid. Here you have formed the pyramid. There is no way today Indian investors can be shaken. Thousands of crores can be sold by foreigners, and nothing will happen because the leadership has changed. So we do get these moments in our life every now and then. The markets have become global. So every second there is a panic. There is a panic because the opinion polls have said something. There is a panic because Iceland is going to sink. Now, what has Iceland got to do with India? You check up the record. Because of Iceland, we are the worst affected. Here is a country where investors have no personal conviction because they don't care to find out the facts. They don't care to have their own conviction. Unless you will have conviction. So I had wonderful time. One best human being I have known came into my life, and I will say that's also my life's best poetry of Jagdish Ji. Poetry must be somebody else, but he said कि गुल से लिपटी हुई तितलियों को उखाड़ कर देखो मीन्स व्हाट ही सेड गुल से लिपटी हुई तितलियों को गिरा के देखो आंधियों तुमने दरख्तों को गिराया होगा ये मेरी लाइफ का भी मोटो है कि आई हैव फॉट दिस लॉन्ग बैटल and it is all these good things can happen to you in life with your own study with your own conviction. Nobody is going to do for you. And if you will go to the fund managers, they will generate 11 to 20%. Be happy. Some of the fund managers have now migrated started their own portfolio management, and they are perhaps giving 40, 30, 50%. But it is so fascinating, and most of you, if you happen to be chartered accountants, educated, nothing prevents you from being an adventurer investor. There is so much research publicly available. I call it gold. Every street is paved with gold. I can give you any number of examples. Every day, last challenge I took upon myself is I don't want to meet any management. I don't want to get any superior knowledge, special information from anybody. I will just read 7, 8 newspapers, and from there I will make a forecast. Why I'm saying all these examples is that every one of you has an ability to pick up what I call trend. It is the trend which moves the stocks. It is some trend. Every day there are several trends. So the trend now, and the biggest trend of the day, is that we are a country of 150 crores. Only 15 crores have come to the market. Elsewhere in the world, ना हर रोज सवाल पूछते हैं अभी कितना जाएगा इंडेक्स व्हाट इज योर फोरकास्ट मिस्टर मेहता ऑफ इंडेक्स आई जस्ट फॉरगेट इट यार look at the population and the income levels are going up. You can easily see our forefathers had one bread earner and rest of the people living on his earning. Now wife is earning, son is earning, brilliant children we are producing. I mean, I had my stenographer, his son went to US. What the stenographer can earn in a year or even 2, 3 years, that guy was earning in 1 month. People are having, per capita income. We are the lowest. So always look at unrealized potential. When I said I took a decision that the politician is driven to the wall, that means worst that could happen to the country had already happened. You had played the gold. Similarly, in COVID also, the worst had already happened. For you, the next step could be the world will be finished. No, that doesn't happen. Mr. Ratan Tata said, a human being is the most ingenious person. And there you saw the vaccines were developed. What takes years and years got developed. So why don't we take a positive view in our own abilities? In this country produced vaccine and see what name we have earned. So what I'm trying to say, investing is all about a mindset where you sense the opportunity, where others are seeing everything negative. Positives come out of these extreme negative situations. So from COVID, we were presented. Next time, therefore, the biggest trend elsewhere in the world, 40% of financial savings are into capital market. Now, what is that ratio? 4%, 5%. In that brief moment, Arshad Bhai doesn't know, when he died in 2001, after 4 or 5 years, I read some RBI report. And that ratio of 2% had gone up to 11.5%. So उस वक्त कहा करते थे कि पान वाले भी मार्केट में आ गए. So the cumulative combined strength of individuals is the same thing. अपने आंधियों ने पेड़ों को उखाड़ा होगा, but एक तितली को भी नहीं हिला पाएंगे. The same thing in our life. Our collective strength is so huge. So don't even think whether it's a starting point of a boom or end of a boom. It is surely, I'm telling you, I'm not forecasting कि कभी 200 point नीचे गिर सकता है. For my life's experiences, yesterday's top is tomorrow's bottom. Go and look at the chart and get guided by a history. अगर BSE का 100 साल का चार्ट निकालेंगे, every peak has become future bottom. And index was 800 when I started. It is thousands now, and it will gallop at a pace you can't even imagine. And there are further reasons to it. It's not just the population number. Huh? No, I'll meet all your queries, but let me conclude. You're most welcome. This bull run is in its embryonic stage. Embryonic stage means it is माँ के गर्भ में अभी केवल जन्म लिया है. हिंदी में कहूं, आपने केवल चिंगारी देखी है, आग अभी आनी बाकी है. Why do you think more population, once they get educated, once they become bread earners, once they deploy themselves for their services abroad and make millions, will not come to the market? They will have to come. Because now everybody is realizing that by more research, more education, that here is an instrument which is safe, secure, which is liquid, and tax is 10% long term, 15% short term. Dividends, more often than not, were tax free. I was arguing my matter in special court. My opposite side was custodian. He says, how could Rasila Mehta, that's my mother, late mother, a housewife could have investments of hundreds of crores, unless Harshad has diverted all his bank money, stolen money, whatever you call it, to her. So I told the judge, I said, women are permitted to invest. Let custodian show that women cannot invest. So he had no answer. I said, my mother has bought stocks from the floor of the exchange. Let custodian show that Harshad sold and Rasila bought. No answer. I said, how many mothers in this country have paid brokerage to her son at the normal scale and paid interest at 12% per annum for even some amount which she had borrowed? So you show that there was borrowing not allowed to women, women were not allowed. So no answer. I said, now I will come to the stats. My family had the highest belief in this country, and we are real long-term investors. And if everybody else is investing in the family, why would mother not invest? You mean I should not treat my mother as even I treat my other clients? Meaning my mother should be left out if I have a strong belief that this country will go places. So I told the judge, there was no transfer. Harshad Bhai has expired in December 2001. After his expiry, he could not have transferred the wealth to her. Her portfolio was 43 crores on 31st March 2003. Why I'm giving example, I'm coming to the most important thing in my lecture. That 43 crore, a portfolio built 13 years ago, without being allowed to be touched, was all along attached. 43 crore became 225 crore in 31st March 2007, 5.38 times in 4 years. Then again, I told the judge in 2011, it has touched a figure of 450 crores, which is something like 8.58 times in 7 years. In 2011, the custodian out of 450 crores sold away 225 crore worth of shares. So I was left with investment of 225 crores. Yesterday's her portfolio value was 1184 crores. Now, what I want to share out of this live example, again, please don't get me wrong, because what I want to convey, I want to back it up by my own experience. That is why I'm saying this. One, activity is inversely related to profits. We are all descendants of monkey. Every day we want to jump from here to there, to there, to there. thinking that I will get a better fruit somewhere else. More activity means your broker is happy. You are unhappy. You will invite accounting problems, taxation problems, whatnot. Biggest lesson and eighth wonder of the world is what is called power of compounding. Power of compounding are briefly mentioned by my previous speaker. Now, power of compounding are two types. What I have learned is the arithmetical power of compounding and the geometrical power of compounding. Arithmetical power of compounding is also very powerful. So some of you here would be Marwaris. Very, very respectfully, I am saying Marwaris have got a meter, a calculator in their mind, and they're very good at calculating interest. So the power of compounding, the path they adopt is compounding through lending. So आपने 100 रुपया लगाया, उस पर 3 रुपया ब्याज आया, 3 रुपये पर भी आपको ब्याज मिलना सेकंड क्वार्टर से शुरू हो जाएगा. Quarterly charging of interest by banks is already legal in this country, and therefore huge amount of compounding happens in lending because you keep money, you keep earning interest on interest which you've already made. The power of compounding that we have learnt in life is, and Gujaratis are given to that habit, take a loan from Marwari, give him 18%, and put the risk, and not that necessarily they are smarter, there can be losses also. But the risk is taken, and we try to make more money, keep him happy, his compounding in interest happens, my compounding happens in profits. Now, profit compounding path is what I am standing before you. What can profits, compounding of profits can do is the statistics which I just revealed of my mother's portfolio. This is I had to show to the judge that my mother has not earned because she gave birth to Harshad Mehta, but she made investment. If the value would have fallen, the custodian would have said the loan was taken by mother. Please give loan with interest of last 30 years. And he would have followed that path and recovered. So, power of compounding, even a housewife can have 1184 crore investment. That's how Kokila Ben must be having with 6% holding in Reliance will run into. It does not mean Kokila Ben would have ever gone to office or has ever run Reliance Industries. So this is power of compounding with passivity. Meaning, I am now trying to tell you that once you have selected the right stock and let the power of compounding play, then you don't have to do anything. That is why I say in a year you need 3, 4 ideas. Don't have a portfolio of 80, 90 stocks. Jitni party, jitna samosa party, utne stocks. And every time some new company comes and you have huge bulky a portfolio of several companies. I believe in 7 to 10 stocks. In family's portfolio, it was larger, and some of because of historical. But otherwise, ideally, and much lessons learned even from my family's history is 10 stocks, 10 best long-term great stocks are to come into your portfolio and ignore the other 4,000, 5,000 other companies. And if others are singing praise, you don't get guided because you can't be boarding all the trains. So you have your own portfolio choice. Now, information is God. Information comes from the least expected sources. To a housewife, madam, आप जाएंगे शॉप में खरीदने के लिए, you will be the first person to know as women which are better products. The company fellow will get it later after he sees lots of women buying the same thing. But you will be the first point of contact when you will say, yes, this product is superior. and therefore which company is making it. Now you will not only ask for price, but you will also ask ये कौन सी company है and कितने products हैं. So your choice will fall accordingly for a company which has come out with a very wonderful product, which will ensure growth in numbers and all that. So I am saying that information is available. Trains, अभी मैं एग्जांपल देता हूँ, टाटा मोटर्स, इसमें कौन सा रॉकेट साइंस था? टाटा मोटर्स was way behind in matters of vehicles. Okay, the first round, third round, all that. But now they are they have adopted EV vehicles, and anybody can find out that. So Tata Motor was the best performer last year on the back of their portfolio of EV vehicles and on the back of Jaguar Land Rover, other wonderful products. So it does not take too much time to find out which company is producing what and what is the acceptance of that product in the market. Any number of it. Now I was talking about there should be some bit of adventure. So while I was away from the market also, my friend said कि साउथ में सालेम में एक plant है steel manufacturing, and that is about to be sold to Jindals, because that South Indian promoter otherwise very good, but not successful in steel business. So the next thing I did is, okay, let me go to Madurai. So I went to Madurai, the head office of the company, and once you go well suited and all, they receive you so well. Some of you will say, why will I go there? How will I be received there? You go thinking without thinking anyway. So I met the company secretary and I said, what is wrong with the business? So he said, my promoters are very successful in everything else, but not able to run the steel plant. Therefore, we are sick and tired of it. The Jindals are going to take over. Stock price was 10 rupees. So he said, would you like to see my plant? I said, yeah. What do I have to do? He said, you finish your lunch quickly and go to Salem, and you will still be able to reach Bombay tonight. After Salem, you go to Bangalore and take an evening flight. I went, I was received so well at the plant. The plant manager, they are waiting for somebody to come to them to showcase what is happening. People are so good, they are ready to give you an understanding. At 10 rupees, I bought huge quantum. There was a rights issue. I applied extra rights, and within, I think, 3 months, I sold at 40 rupees. Why I'm saying is, why sit in your chair and decide? Who is preventing you from gathering information and going to the spot? And while you go on vacation, pilgrimage and all that, it is your own money. At least make some effort. So much is available. You see, what is happening is we want every information to come through Google and all. Maybe not everything is available. What is happening at the ground level is very important. Now, your choice, you have to make 4 or 5 stocks. So, first amount of preliminary reading you can do through Google, but something which needs special investigation or finding out inquiry, you go there and find out. Nothing prevents you. And that is how you get to, multi-baggers or exceptional situation. And you will thoroughly enjoy. And you will walk tall in your house, amongst your friends. Say, I have earned, I made the effort. I went to Salem. Everybody else did not do. All of us have our own pride and ego, which needs pampering. And if something falls on your lap, it is not as good as something you discover by yourself. Be a bit of an adventurer and invest after doing your homework. What will happen is, if I had not visited Salem, my level of conviction in my decision would have been much, much poorer. Sitting in your chair, your conviction may not be as strong as at the desired level, it may not be there. So information and trend is God. In everyday life, Shobhan, there are 20 super trends at play in this country at this moment. People are just not able to fathom. Now, a lot of people curse there should not have been demonetization. Now, what demonetization has done, you know it better than any others. You're chartered accountants. You would interact with your clients and they will tell you, Baba, I am happy to pay the tax. I don't want to store cash. I want to pay tax and tax paid wealth. The moment it becomes tax paid wealth, it's most probably it will come to market also. Even 4% of it at the current ratio also it will come to market. But what is the larger change that has happened in the economy? There was a flourishing cash, no tax paying economy generating more and more black money. Instead, that has got into a formal economy, into what is called bigger companies. So bigger companies got a huge boost in their turnovers and whatnot. So the organized sector benefited immensely at the cost of unorganized sector. The government benefited by tax, and everyone in the end has benefited. I'm not getting into politics that after demonetization, हालांकि दो दिन लोगों को लाइन में खड़े रहना पड़ा, बट यूपी में फिर भी सबने गवर्नमेंट को वोट किया after all the suffering, because they saw in Mr. Modi a Robin Hood who was robbing the rich and distributing the poor. Anyway, that is not the part of me. The point I'm making is one demonetization has permanently injected in all of us a habit of becoming taxpayers, of generating tax-paid wealth. And that can have a huge impact collectively on the market. Similarly, now GST got introduced. Now, so much if you read the speeches of politicians, inko ye pareshani ho gayi, that and blah, blah, blah. Look at the tax collections of GST. It is introducing GST in a country of our size, in the manner it has been done. Nowhere else it has happened in the world. You want to take pride, you better find out what has been the experience of even smaller companies. And when Indians are set to do something, they do wonders in every sphere. I mean, my thought process is an Indian, average Indian is the most intelligent creature in the world. That is why wherever he goes, he succeeds like nobody else. Ready to work hard, ready to give competition in their own land, and not like what others are doing. I'm not getting into all that. The point is, GST, the most historic thing that has happened, it is resulting into sharp enhancement of GDP, sharp enhancement in tax collection. The world is wondering now, where is this country used to be castigated. There's no fiscal discipline, blah, blah, blah. All that has been silenced once and for all. And there's been a wonderful distribution. And of course, initially, some formula was not there to nab the guys who are stealing GST, but increasingly surveillance is also coming into play. So this is something which you can see as a chartered accountant. Every day you are handling GST. It's a mega trend. Our GDP, when you read at 8%, a good part of it is coming from GST. Now, because of GST, the truck which leaves Chennai reaches Bombay in 2 days. It used to take 8 days. The cost of logistics to companies have gone down so much because we were the highest logistics company expense spending country in the world. We are not able to compete with China, Korea, blah, blah. Our logistics have also started reducing heavily. Just one GST, a super mega event, has transformed and given permanent benefits for several years. We will have 2% GDP growing only because of GST. So this is just giving you 2, 3 trends to give you an idea of why stock markets are going up. Then we talk of, I mean, most of you know, in digitization, we became the world leader. We are teaching the whole world how to use technology. Even if there is no internet, I mean, I'm amazed. I'm not able to keep pace with my servants. I mean, they know how to operate Paytm, make all the payments, and unbelievable things are happening. Why don't you wake up and take pride in all these things? Not that I ever said you make investment in Paytm, that is for some other reason, but at least you can recognize that India will be at the forefront. Our telecom rates, now, why has Bharti Telecom been rising and rising and rising? Just go back 2 or 3 years in time. You can easily read that our telecom rates are the lowest in the world. When they are at the lowest, then again my formula, unrealized potential कितनी है? अभी उससे नीचे जा ही नहीं सकता rate. So once they gather the mass and density goes up and the number of telephone users, now you can easily see what is the use of data. मैं एयरलाइन में बैठता हूँ, हर 4-5 सब लोग, they open their mobiles, they have their earphones, most of them have these laptops, and they are watching movie, consuming data. So, and many years ago, I had met the SR promoters. So he told me, अभी ये 16 रुपया है, but some day will come when actual tariff for making a telephone call will become 0. I was wondering what is he saying. I don't want to name him, but I'm just saying. And I saw it happen. So with 0 tariff for phone calls, now we are shifting and making money only through data. And you look at the data patterns, you will realize that these telecom companies are making humongous profits, and this is just a beginning. So this is I think it can never get over in 1 hour if we start getting into trends. But my object behind all this is, in Chinese there is a saying, if somebody is hungry, don't give him fish. You give him fishing rod. So I'm here to share with you my experience of what we could do with the fishing rod. And you are also having the same physics like me, same mental capability. It's question of application. You start get going into it. You know. So I covered the adventure part of it. Such beautiful thing it is, no? Stock market is a place when you take to researching, every day you can learn. I can't think of, I mean, I have met the best of most successful career people. After 4-5 years, they say बहुत मोनोटोनी है, एक ही काम को करते रहते हैं, हम लोग थक गए हैं, लाखों करोड़ों रुपया सैलरी मिलती है, but job satisfaction नहीं है. Here is a challenge, intellectual challenge of finding out 5,000 companies and how they are making money. It is the best form of combination of learning and earning, and learning leading to earning. Where can you think of a career? Lifelong you will remain a student. I wake up every day and learn something new every day. कितना भी हमने पास में रिसर्च किया होगा, you can't keep pace with the change that is happening. Even if you go to sleep 1 year, next year you will wake up and say, oh my God, am I in the same world? So much is happening. Now you will have driverless cars. Can you think of? हम लोग बचपन में खेलते थे, माचिस से धागा बांध के दूर तक. अरे मैं यहाँ बोल रहा हूँ, वहां सुनाई देता है. But we thought that a thread was doing the magic. Then we used to read that वो रामायण के सारे बता रहे थे कि भाई पुष्पक विमान में कोई गया, और दूरध्वनि से बात की, और संजय महाभारत देख रहा है धृतराष्ट्र के बाजू में बैठ के और बता रहा है कि वहां लड़ाई में क्या हो रहा है. All these were looking fictions. They are realities of the day. It's unbelievable. Technology. So now how to find out? Coming to my next and very crucial thing. If I have to share my experiences, where do you hit the gold? How do you hit the jackpot? There, once I said, no mutual funds, no fixed deposits, land only so long as you need it for your own garden, or if you're very rich, for your farmhouse. And beyond that, I don't think land does generate superior returns. But you ask your child, is he ready to manage your land portfolio? He'll say, भाई क्यों दिया मुझे? एक छोटा farm house दे देता था, मैं would have gone in the weekend. I don't want land holdings. I often find my daily example, the people are owning land and land and land, and they are wondering उसमें एक केस लगा हुआ है, किसी में दो है, and who will manage the litigation? Today's children, you are sending them abroad to study, and once they come back, you tell them, okay, this is my problem, you handle it. He'll say, Dad, have you gone mad? So these are shortcomings. I'm really otherwise my golden dictum used to be, God has stopped making land. So if you go by the principle of scarcity, land is the scarcest resource because no new land is being made but population is growing, incomes are growing, land parcel is same. But that is good for a builder to think that way. For us as an investor, we don't have ability to manage the land. Now, therefore, how do I measure risk and reward in a case? How do I get a multi-bagger? So my first learning on this is risk is always in the price. Okay. So when we used to do portfolio management, a lot of current day portfolio manager also follow the path of least resistance. They will buy Nestle, Hindustan Lever, Reliance, spread it into what are called the performing companies, the known companies. But they have grown big. If they have grown big, I want to earn 100% per year. Suppose if that is my target, can Reliance will become 3 to 6,000 in 1 year? I will get an answer no. I will get a certain no. अगर गलती से 3 का 6,000 एक साल हो गया, the second year it will not be 6 to 12,000. Why do you make superior returns in smaller price companies? Because the law of gravity applies even to stock prices. And smaller the stock, it is more like a cheetah and a tiger. Bigger companies are more like elephants. So I say that risk is in the price. Therefore, go towards stocks of smaller price. Is that enough? No, that is not enough. Smaller can get still smaller and can get delisted. So it is not just about price. In the smaller price, I look for companies which are turning around. The turnaround cases are the real cases of multi-baggers. And you will be amazed that one good turnaround case you have in your portfolio, and that will do work for you for generations. What is the way to find out turnaround cases? Small pieces of information, small results should be the starting point. A company was making big losses, has made smaller losses. Or the company was making smaller loss and has now turned little profitable. So that should be the starting point of your inquiry. Some signs of turnaround are visible. Then your homework should begin. One, is this turnaround a one-time affair? Whether this turnaround will take a long time, whether this turnaround will become very sharp and gather steam. So obviously the third has to be chosen. That this turnaround is so sharp that the real growth is visible. And some turnarounds are so, I mean, I don't want to name a company, but I met the promoter. He said, Ashwin bhai, 26 saal se whatever could go wrong, went wrong. I pledged my house, I had no monies to pay salaries. And one fine day something happened. It was a pot of gold. One thing happened in that company, and that 1 rupee stock is upwards of 700 today in less than 2, 3 years. I have come across several companies which have sudden and sharp turnaround. If you get boarded on that, sky is the limit. Now, they are not so easy to find, one can keep on arguing, but to an intelligent and discerning mind who is ready to respect information as God. So in my life, many turnaround cases I found, and now all the more I want to become specialist in my second innings, what I call, because I was away from the market. So turnaround cases should be a part of your portfolio, provided one, turnaround is real, not one time. Turnaround will become sharper in your favor. Turnaround is by a management which will be in a position to really take advantage. Or you can broadly find out what the sector is all about. If the sector also has a potential, then turnaround will gather steam and you can do wonders. Second category I call is emerging blue chips, companies which are less known, lesser priced, and which is coming out with products or performances which will get noticed. So it will be a low P multiple now and will become re-rated and will get a wider acceptance amongst the investing public. So they will generate superior returns. Now, what is the RR? Every time you take a decision, you buy a stock, first ask yourself a question: what is the risk and what is the likely reward? So a stock is 20 rupees. Forget all that you have listened, carefully think. If I buy a stock, my friend here asked me, Unitech. Unitech, I'm not recommending, I'm just giving an example. Everything that could go wrong went wrong with the company. At one time, it was the second most reputed real estate company in Delhi. And I bought that stock for a widow at 2 rupees. Not even doing my research, which I should have done, but I had a broad sense that they have a huge amount of land parcel. The promoters are in jail. They are not in management. The Supreme Court has taken charge of the company, appointed an IOS to run the company, and thousands of people had bought flats, and Supreme Court wanted that those flats are delivered. And once that happens, the rest of the land bank would be available. So that went to 20 rupees, and now it is 11 rupees. Your question was that. I'm just giving that as an example. The turnaround cases, there are galore, but Unitech would have required a much more inquiry. But at 2 rupees, I might even play a blind shot. That here's a God sent land company, and land is something, even a small piece. You know what was when I left UTI, I had a wonderful boss. So he's one teaching to me is that Ashwin in Bombay, many of the promoters never died pauper because they had land, whether it was Mafatlals, Thakursis, Khataus, you name, all of them had land parcels. And therefore, at the end of it, the shareholders did get something. And some of them are still getting it, in fact. So unless the RR, 20 rupees if I'm choosing, suppose the risk is 4 rupees downfall, then it must correspondingly have a 36 rupees upside also. Meaning so long as RR is not 1 to 4. In your mind, I mean, this is something you have to do without cheating your own self and not overbearing through your opinion, but driven more by facts. And therefore, if facts are applied properly and RRs are worked, then you will keep getting an opportunity. Unless that requirement is met, don't get into it. Now the difference is how many of you want to make profits and how many of you want to create wealth. Wealth only. Okay. Now wealth will require a completely different approach. Therefore, I said you will not be monkey, you will not be jumping around. You have hit a good idea, you got a company young, and just sail for years together. Because the power of compounding, which I just said, comes into play in fourth, fifth, sixth year. So unless you give the manure of patience, you will never reach that point. So I picked up Hero Honda at 15 rupees. The promoter tried to scare me. I am not getting it. There will be a shortage of time. But going by risk is always in the price. A promoter like Honda available at 15 rupees. वो बोले दारू है में पावर शॉर्टेज है मिस्टर मेहता आप देख लीजिएगा वहाँ लेबर प्रॉब्लम है I said, Mr. Munjal, I have not come to ask you whether I should buy or not. He gave me 10 minutes and left me after 2.5 hours. I said, you are not ready, Mr. Munjal. What is going to happen to you? You are talking of tomorrow. I'll tell you 10 years from now. 10 years from now, you will be the largest motorcycle manufacturer in the world. Where will you get such a population? Where will you get such roads where people will have to abandon scooters and got into motorcycles? And India resides in villages, and villages will be your biggest market. And Honda has chosen you not for nothing. Honda was compelled to choose a local partner. सर मैंने आपने देखे बाहर जो आपने रिसेप्शन में पिक्चर्स लगा के रखे हैं मैं बैठा था मुझे तो लगता है ऐसा ग्रेट फ्यूचर है In 1 week's time, entire Munjal family was having dinner at my house. That is how we built up bonds with them. And my mother is still left, and sister-in-law with about some 8-9 lakh Hero Honda. We picked up 7%. वही प्राइस वाली कहानी है छोटा भाव तो golden principle is smallness of price, largeness of quantity, and hugeness of patience. You will have to work this combination को आप तोड़ोगे ही नहीं वरना क्या करते हैं some people discover a stock so they are not sure so they buy small quantity and then wonder अरे मैंने क्यों इतना कम करी some people will have a sane man will come out अरे यार मैंने 8 रुपए में लिया था अभी जल्दी से 20 रुपया हो गया ये तो पेपर प्रॉफिट है मैं घर में नहीं लूंगा तो कल को रहेगा नहीं तो सेल और ये तीसरा तो है ही नहीं लोगों में पेशेंस तो किसी भी तरह वी आर आवर ओन एनिमीज वी वांट टू एवरी डे पिक अप प्रॉफिट्स सबने जवाब दिया आई वांट वेल्थ एंड एवरीबॉडी इज पिकिंग अप प्रॉफिट्स नोबडी इज वर्किंग फॉर वेल्थ ओके हम लोग तो फोर्सिबली वेल्थ क्रिएटर हो गए बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट ने हमारा पोर्टफोलियो अटैच किया Now, what are the wealth destroyers is the last part. I don't know. I have not seen the watch. If I am taxing you guys, I don't know. How many of you are trading? Trading in the market.
Investing, not trading.
No, my question is specific. How many of you are trading F&O in the market? तो 4 हाथ उठे हैं. How many of you have made money through trading? Honest answer चाहिए पापी जी. F&O. So SEBI's data that 92% of the people lose money in trading is correct. And even suppose you have made money, there is no guarantee because what happens is जब छोटे मोटे इधर पैसे बनाते हैं पूरी गांव में ढंढोरा पीट देते लॉस तो हम बताते ही नहीं है रॉन्ग स्टॉक्स are bought by me and sold by my children until it is kept in family museum. पापा आपने ये स्टॉक कब खरीदा था? इसका तो मैन्युफैक्चरर तो क्या नाम था, एमएमसी, बोले तो कहीं पर है ही नहीं लिस्टेड. I said these are mistakes of your dad. We picked up something. So trading is a complete no. Complete no. It will land you into mega problems. It will destroy whatever little capital you have. So all of us are agreed. Who is rich? Who has unlimited wealth over here? Nobody, I'm sure. Like that king of वो कौन सा मुस्लिम जो उसके पास king of Brunei. Nobody is king of Brunei here. So all of us know we have one life and we have limited capital. अब कैपिटल को लगाना साथ में ईगो के साथ लगाना है या बगैर ईगो के लगाना है. ईगो क्या होता है? आई हैव चोजन, मैंने लिया, मैं तो गलत कर ही नहीं सकता. कुर्ला में आप गाड़ी में बैठे हैं, बाहर अनाउंसमेंट आ रही है कि अब ये गाड़ी यार्ड में जाएगी, तो आपका ईगो बोलेगा कल सवेरे तो आएगी. बराबर. लिटिल दैट यू विल वंडर कि रात भर यार्ड में बैठना पड़ेगा. ईगो, separate ego. You are a common, normal human being. So somewhere you have to reckon your mistakes because you have very limited capital. So ego को separate करो. तो उसको कैसे करते हैं separate? I said I have taken the best decision, but I know something can go wrong with my decision. So I put a cap of 20% stop loss in investment. I'm not referring to trading. In 20%, therefore, because you have to preserve your capital. And you are not God, you are a human being. Even if you are blessed, and even if you have chosen 10 other stocks which have performed very well, it does not mean 11th you will not apply stop loss. So separate the ego, go away from trading and stay away from market. Stay away from market is because the closer you are into screen watching and all, you will not be able to resist the temptation and it is time not worth spent. So how to stay away from market? Tell your brokers also not to bother you. They will keep on telling menu of the day, ये ऐसा हो गया, वैसा हो गया, and you, all that is lot of noise. So the bamboo story, राहुल द्रविड़ का किसी ने वो क्लिप देखा है कभी? मेरे पास किसी ने भेजा था. So Rahul Dravid in one of his talk tells, and he is given, he is an epitome of patience. If Rahul Dravid became wall, not like that. So he says, I have learned from the bamboo story. If you try to grow bamboo, you have to put some seed below the earth and keep on watering, keep on doing anything that it will not sprout for long time. And one fine day, once it breaks free from the land, and the growth that happens thereafter is astronomical speed. So stock market investing is also the bamboo story. What are you paying for when you're buying a stock? Never lose sight. Don't talk of other things. First talk of what is the growth. You are buying a stock only for growth. Don't mix it up with other story. Like even a nano car failed. So you could have come to a conclusion that nano, with such a small price point, can make huge profits. But Mr. Tata himself was not selling it at profit. So you should not get carried away by other parts of the news. Your focus is, अभी वो बता रहे थे, bird's eye. That bird's eye has to be, is it going to result into profit? That is where the Paytm answer comes. And if the day public issue was to be made, the promoter was asked, when do you think you will make money? So he says, I don't know, it could be 10 years. And stock opened at 1900 rupees. इतना कहाँ से पैसा आ गया भाई, 10 साल तक मालूम नहीं है. So technologically, Paytm is wonderful. But is there profit? So this is how the Western world has unlimited capital. They are ready to pay huge amount of premiums to ideas. हमारे यहाँ इतना पैसा हमारे पास नहीं है कि केवल आइडिया को बैक करेंगे. We will back the profit only. Okay. So this is I'm giving these examples of how not to lose focus. You are paying for growth in bottom line. Again, not growth in top line. Like the 2000 bubble, we had the dot-com boom and whatever you call. So when I meet the management, I always say, look at the business model. And is it really making money, or losses have to be funded for a long time? Don't put your capital in that. So small price, big quantity, huge patience for company which is going to grow is the formula of finding out wealth creators. There is a lot to be said and done. I myself have two graphs in my life from Kanamur Nagar, Chopalpatti ke thoda ek level upar se, I and Harshad Bhai made our life. And God was unbelievably kind to us. We could just not understand what happened to us. We were given to hard work, and then the graph fell, everything got attached, and now the second graph is begun. I'm working for it. So what I'm saying is, of all the life's experiences which I have picked up, I'm honestly sharing with all of you. If it rubs on you, I'll ever remain so grateful if you will believe in India, invest, bring others into market, invest long term, invest in growth stocks, invest and choose your stocks. I am here. If even there were 5 people, I would be addressing. If there are 5,000, I'll be addressing. My personal mission is getting fulfilled by you people giving me such valuable time in your life. It is my personal passion. The family has got so much love and affection from society. We want to give it back and promote equity cult and bring locals to make money. हमारे बाप दादा भी रोते रहे हैं, हमारा कोई नूर लेके गया है, अरे आज भी वही कर रहे हो. I think we should be able to pursue it. The government also. Don't go looking around for capital directly into equities. If capital has to come, let it come for manufacturing iPhones. Direct investment is welcome. I personally don't like these FIs making money, and therefore I'm here with you, and join me in making others also come, and all of them will thank you. I'm sure you will get lots of blessings. To your children also give this habit, a proper understanding, and may your 7 generations hereafter will bloom, I can assure you on that. And with this, I will take all your questions answered in whatever time that is set for me. But I am from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. थोड़ा बैठ के आंसर दीजिएगा.
Some people have given me questions. We'll take them first, and then we'll open the house for them. So Rajan Clark, I think he had sent a question. Can you please?
Sir, regarding buying tax-free bonds and government assured bonds, some brokers nowadays circulate offers, periodical offers. Such and such bonds are available for such and such price, is very available.